Hello, how are you? Today I brought an amazing recipe for you. It's a Japanese tea that's very popular and widely used in Japan by people who want to lose weight, reduce bloating, and strengthen their health. Recently, many people have discovered this tea on the internet. It's become quite famous. People have asked me if we can make it at home and what the ingredients are. So, I'm going to make this tea for you today. Stay with me until the end. You won't want to miss it. If you love recipes that are easy, quick, and help with weight loss and improve your health, you're going to love this channel. There are new videos here every day, so make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss them. Let's start our recipe. It's very easy. You don't even need to know how to cook, obviously. Remember, the ingredients and their quantities will be listed below. There won't be any nutritional information because it's a tea and doesn't have any significant caloric value. Also, this tea shouldn't be sweetened, just like the Japanese don't sweeten theirs, because if you're trying to reduce bloating, lose weight, and improve your health, you shouldn't add sugar, which is highly pro-inflammatory, empty calories, will spike your insulin, and promote the accumulation of abdominal and overall body fat. So the tea tastes good and is easy to drink. Let's get started then. The first ingredient in our tea is actually a famous tea. When we think of Japan, we usually think of green tea, but this recipe doesn't use green tea. It's the same plant, Camellia sinensis, but for this recipe, they use black tea. Remember that black tea contains a large amount of antioxidants, it can help lower bad cholesterol, and this also helps with weight loss because it regulates the fat levels in your blood. It can also support the proper functioning of the liver, so it's an excellent addition. And black tea is quite inexpensive, very easy to find, and it doesn't have that bitter taste like green tea. In addition, black tea contains caffeine. Of course, not as much as coffee, but it does have caffeine in its composition. Caffeine helps speed up the metabolism, which aids in weight loss, facilitates biochemical reactions, and improves metabolism. That's why it's included. Another ingredient in this tea is hibiscus. I love using hibiscus in various teas. There's even a playlist here on the channel with hibiscus recipes. Remember that hibiscus is excellent for improving our metabolic health. It helps enhance insulin sensitivity, helps you break down more fat in the abdominal area, prevents you from accumulating more fat there, and is rich in antioxidants. It's wonderful for our health. So it already starts taking on a beautiful color, and the hibiscus gives it a nice flavor. Personally, I think it's delicious. We're also going to add a bit of clove to our tea. Remember that clove is very helpful for digestion, so it will aid in digestive processes and promote better digestion. It also contains many antioxidants, is great for boosting our immunity, and naturally has compounds that fight bacteria, viruses, and even pathogens in our bodies. And it also helps reduce inflammation in our bodies. You know that a body with more inflammation has a harder time losing weight, so clove plays a very important role here. Let's mix all of this together. There are still 2 ingredients left. So now I'll add the cinnamon. I'm using a cinnamon stick here, but if you prefer, you can use ground cinnamon. No problem at all. It will still give our tea a wonderful flavor. Besides, cinnamon also helps a lot with insulin sensitivity. It might seem strange to talk about insulin when we're discussing weight loss. Usually people who worry about insulin are those with diabetes, but when insulin is regulated and at its optimal levels, it actually helps with weight loss. That's because the more insulin your body secretes, the more sugar present in your blood gets stored in your fat cells. So if you can regulate your insulin levels and make the other cells in your body more sensitive without having to secrete so much insulin, it will be better for you. That's why insulin is part of our discussion here about this tea. And finally, the last ingredient they use in the tea is rosemary. Remember that rosemary also helps improve blood sugar. It helps with insulin regulation and maintaining a healthy balance of sugar in your blood, which supports weight loss. It contains many antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds that are excellent for your health, also for immunity, and it won't have a strong rosemary flavor because we've already added so many ingredients here with strong taste: black tea, hibiscus, cloves, cinnamon. So actually, if you don't like rosemary, don't worry because its flavor won't stand out much, not at all. So, since this is a tea, an infusion, we need to let it steep so all the compounds can be released. We'll cover this for about 15 minutes, and when we come back, I'll show you how it looks. It turns out really beautiful. I'll taste it so you can see, and I'll tell you how they usually drink it. Hold on. So look, about 15 minutes have passed and I've already strained it to make things easier and not waste time here. If you want to wait until it reaches room temperature, you can do that too, whatever is easier for you. Now I'm going to pour it into one of these bottles, like the kind we sometimes buy water in, so you can see how they usually do it. So look, I'm using a funnel here to make it easier, but if you don't have one, you can just pour it carefully into the bottle, and we can dilute this amount. I'll get more water so we can fill it up with more water, so you can drink it throughout the day because that's how they usually drink it. Now I'll pour it into a glass so you can see what a beautiful color it has. It almost looks like grenadine. Look at that, how beautiful it looks, and it has a wonderful flavor, a bit tart from the hibiscus. I think it's delicious. Actually, I'm not sure if it looks more like grenadine or strawberry juice. So how do the Japanese usually drink it? Usually they drink it before lunch or before dinner, precisely because of the issue of insulin sensitivity. Sometimes they also have it before breakfast. It really depends on the person and their needs, of course. But typically, they have a glass like this before lunch and before dinner, and they keep it in the fridge since the tea is already prepared. That's how they usually do it. I've already mentioned that it isn't sweetened, so that's an interesting point. If you want to add stevia, xylitol, or some other non-caloric sweetener, that could be an option for you. Remember that I have a video here on the channel talking more about stevia and xylitol, and I'll also leave that down below in the description. And remember, if you are diabetic, concerned about insulin, or about lowering your blood sugar, always keep in mind that if you have any health issues, you should talk to your doctor or your nutritionist in your city to guide you. Before I try it here and tell you what it tastes like, I want to remind you that if you don't want to make this tea here, you can make the teas separately. I have videos talking about hibiscus tea, whether it helps with weight loss, about clove tea, rosemary tea, cinnamon. And if you have any questions, take a look at the tea playlist I created. There's a wide variety of teas, and I talk about each one in more detail there. If you want to know about another tea you like, let me know down below which one it is, because I might not have made a video about it yet. So take the opportunity to tell me what your favorite tea is. If you've ever tried any tea to reduce bloating or to lose weight, whether it worked or not, I'd love to read your comment. Give the video a like because that really helps me, and share it with anyone who needs it or would enjoy it. Let's work together, you and I, to grow this chain of good, because that's what I want here on the channel. Now let's try this tea. It's already cold. It should be delicious. I really tasted the cinnamon and a bit of hibiscus. Actually, I didn't taste much of the other ingredients, maybe a little bit of clove too, but the most prominent flavors were definitely cinnamon, clove, and hibiscus. And it turned out really tasty, and look, I didn't sweeten it with anything, and it was just fine. So try it and then let me know. See you next time. Bye.